All over Europe, we can see what were once liberal democracies for decades swinging massively to the right. The obvious counter to this is, well, what about the UK? We've got a left-wing government. Well, as I've said in videos before, let's just wait, because I believe after Starmer, a huge swing to the right is coming in the UK. We can already see that boiling right now with Starmer's leftist tyrannical behaviour. Yet in the here and now, in Germany, the AfD, the so-called far-right party, is set to get more seats in the state elections than ever before. And as you'd imagine, the BBC are very eager to make the association here with Nazis, but we all know the AfD aren't Nazis. What's going on in Germany is the same as in the rest of Europe. The Overton window has moved so far to the left that normal people are now called hateful, evil and far right simply for wanting to maintain their way of life. We can all see that the mask has slipped. Europeans don't want more mass immigration, yet we get it year after year whether we want it or not. We're at the point now where Europeans are going to be replaced if we continue with current trends. On top of that, leftist social ideology, which was once totally fringe as little as 10 or 20 years ago, is now mainstream and forced on us, whether it's critical race theory, LGBTQ ideology. These things have come down from the very top. They've brainwashed the young, and corporations have been kicked into line by organisations like BlackRock. So in reality, what we're really seeing here is the crumbling of liberalism. Liberalism isn't an acronym anyway. These people aren't liberal at all. That's an Americanization. They're actually just leftists pretending to be liberals. Like all leftists, they want to enforce their utopian worldview and pretend they're doing it via popular demand, but in reality it's highly unpopular. This is why a major shift is happening, but the countdown is now on. What I mean is, Europeans across the continent are waking up and they're starting to take action in the streets and on the ballot box. However, the globalist elites know this and they're starting to enforce mass immigration all the more. They do this because when they import millions of foreigners, they all vote left-wing because, of course, that's where all the freebies are. On top of that, when the inevitable consequences start happening, they utilize the media to demonize the people who are getting fed up of it, and then henceforth the left in the European countries then mobilize themselves. Yet this strategy has started to run out across Europe, and that leads to things that we've seen in France when the establishment will join together to keep out people like Marine Le Pen. So again, what we're seeing is the crumbling of liberalism, and what's being revealed beneath it is leftist authoritarianism. Personally, I believe that's going to lead to a split down the middle of the UK and across Europe too. Second to that, the people of France, England, Germany, Poland are realising we've got more in common with each other than we do with certain communities in our own capital cities and other towns up and down our countries, such as Bradford, for instance, which have been completely taken over by communities from the third world. And just remember, when they call anybody evil and hateful who's concerned by this has never been democratic. Nobody has ever asked for this. In fact, quite the opposite. Every time Europeans have gone to the ballot box and said limit immigration, we've been ignored and they've enforced it all the more. The reality is that liberal democracies can only really work when you have a strong national identity and a strong tradition, both spiritually and culturally, to back it up and keep it from getting out of control. Our elites have completely destroyed that dynamic and enforced mass immigration on us. And then when right-wing parties start to surge in Europe, they're eager just to blame the public without taking responsibility and saying it's them who's caused this mess. These are just my thoughts, however. Do let me know what you think down below, and do consider subscribing to the channel.